So right here, I have 20 projects. Now I'm sure we've all sat there and just stood at the wall wondering what the hell are we doing? No ideas come to mind. Everything's just like gone. It's just floating away. All of our ideas just elude us. And we're stuck just wondering, is this really what I want to do? But you know damn well that the end point of that career path sounds like a lot of fun. And even getting there sounds fun, but you just don't know what to do in the moment. Now, my friends, this is called burnout. We all know what it is, and it really just destroys the spark in us. I'm just here to show you a few things that you can probably do to get rid of it. Now, I'm not going to be your therapist here and tell you the exact things that are going to be like specific for you, but I'll tell you what at least works for me. But I'll start off with one very important piece of advice for you guys, because without this, I think this video might not help. And that would be just stop thinking. Now, if you're thinking about that statement, stop thinking, you're already failing what I'm doing. Literally, I want you to just hop into something, a topic, even if you know a little bit about it. Try your best to write anything on that program without thinking. Because remember, an imperfect execution is way better than a perfect plan. And that literally applies to every single project. You go on GitHub, you find all the repositories. They have thousands of issues. They have thousands of pull requests, thousands of comments, discussions. And all you get to see when you click on them, though, is the project finalized, right? So you kind of get this weird image of like, damn, bro, these guys know how to code. I don't. And our goal is to completely navigate around this. I'm about to show you these things, so make sure you guys watch to the end because I'm dropping hella sauce right now. So right here, I have 20 projects. Now, how many of these are really similar to each other? A few of them, that's fine. A lot of these ideas end up being pretty generic, and the really cool and like niche ideas behind them, like encryption on passwords, using asynchronous and concurrent programming, using multiple threads, databases, using modules to like make a path in your computer to store stuff, serializing files, going through your web browser to find some stuff, parsing, like there, I just named 8 ideas, but what's really funny too is that 8 ideas feels so little, but it's actually a lot. Now, one of the things that bothered me is I'd get really pissed off whenever I saw like a bunch of import statements and I didn't know what some of the libraries were. And when you have a dick measuring competition with yourself all day, you're gonna go insane. So that's why I'm just saying, stop thinking. So with this piece of paper, these ideas are all relative to my interests. The top one is an audio analyzer with file crawl. Now, it's a file crawl. What I meant by that is I will go through every single file on my computer and I'll find every single MP3 wave file, anything, and I'll put it into a little audio analyzer. There's something called Fourier transform. I don't know if I said that right. And I'll make a little animation for the visualizer. I'll use a GUI. I'll maybe find some data on the internet. And guess what? I can even add AI to analyze the audio. Like, bro, that is sweet spot right there. 5 ideas. I'm sure that we get intimidated by all the insane projects we see. I mean, there are some egregious things out there, bro. I've seen like physics engines that are perfect. Obviously, perfect's a little bit like extra here, but you know what I mean. Now, the one thing you might actually need, a lot of computer science students need this. That's why they feel burnt out. They have the passion, but they don't have the energy. Go outside, get some sun, go to the beach. Even for like an hour. You have, good 12, 13, 14 hours in your day that you can put towards studying. Just subtract an hour and get to the lifting, get some sun, cardio. You might get some big muscles, but you might need cardio too. Now, if you couldn't tell, we're not weak around here. That's fine. There are multiple studies showing how dopamine gets like released from your brain whenever you get hit by the sun. Now, I'm not the most tan person, but like, all right, bro, that wasn't helping out. I promise you though, like, Come on. Now I'll show you some examples real quick of how you can use AI, because that's the third part of this video. AI is actually going to be your best friend. Never be intimidated by AI. I want you to get comfortable with AI. This is my personal view, but I think it's really necessary because you will not find a single company not using AI out there unless they're like using old technologies and they're just too stubborn to move on. We'll go to Claude real quick, and I give him a bunch of information about myself. I go to the gym. I code every day. I'm in high school. Learning DSA, building Python applications and scripts for fun. Now, yes, there's a difference between a script and an application. A script is like one little file that runs something and does something for you. An application is fully built, modularized, everything. There's a whole entire pattern for everything. So it's like, all right, it just spits out ideas at me. A gym progress tracker. Now listen, I know this video is about being burnt out, being creative, having that block in you. But if you're thinking of a gym progress tracker, you can't just think about the simple things you can do. Oh yeah, I'll make a list. I'll put stuff in the list. I'll make a class. If you end up thinking about those 3 things for every single idea, you're going to get pretty bored, okay? I like to think a little more expansively. I know there's apps out there like MyFitnessPal. There's that one AI app called Cal AI. They have like a nice interface. They have other things that are like really cool. So all I'm thinking is that, all right, I'll make the app. I'll store whatever they're doing, store the calories. I'll make an interface for it. And the interface will have animations, baby. It updates. And I might even make like a feature that compares myself I might have a reminder for when I'm going to work out next. You can obviously just throw a little AI assistant in there, because come on, who's not going to do that? And maybe like something that crawls through TikTok and just displays a bunch of ideas with meal prep, and you select the ones you like and just find more. This one says to count your reps during workouts. That's pretty cool. So you're visualizing algorithms. I want to do that. I haven't made that yet. Personal scheduler, honestly kind of similar to gym progress tracker. This one says constraint satisfaction algorithms. Never heard of that. As you can see, there are full-on Wikipedia pages on this topic. Like it's insane. This one seems to be like machine learning though, for looking at anything. Now, a lot of those ended up started to be really similar, and it's okay. We move, although this one though, that's a great project. But I was like, all right, I want to learn these few modules though. Subprocess, OS, and pathlib. They just work on your computer's path. They just spit out a bunch of ideas, more focused, because honestly, when asking AI for a few ideas, they'll spit out the same things because you have to give it a little bit more context. Duplicate file detector. You can do this using hashing. You can go through every single thing. Fuzzy matching. That's fun. Content analysis. You can like track everything. System automation framework. Like that's so cool. Every time I take a screenshot, it moves to a new folder. Download management. Every time there's a download, you categorize it in your folders. This is like one of those really like basic ideas that you can just expand off of. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of going on and on here. I'll probably end up cutting this segment short because I have more ideas for you guys. Now, real quick, you will not get better at coding by just thinking. You'll get better at coding by just doing. Just keep doing, a little less thinking every day. You gotta get comfortable with the language and not with the ideas behind it, because you need to know how to make things off the top of your mind without thinking about how much you're doing it before. I can't put it too much in the words, but I promise you coding every day will do way more than just thinking about coding every day. It's like reading a book versus studying the book and doing stuff in the book, and you actually memorize it. If you have an idea in school and you need to memorize it, you explain it to your cat or your dog or your family. There's studies on that too. There's effect. These all have names, bro. So just for reference, I'll end up trying to make this idea right here. So we're gonna have a system events and automated actions for your framework. So I actually experienced a really funky issue during the development of this project. So first off, it didn't even import the package right. I had to manually do it, and it ended up breaking my Visual Studio Code, so that was weird. And the documentation was honestly pretty bad, but I ended up getting around this, and you'll see that. So don't mind the choppy process of making this app. So we just made some basic code straight from the documentation. Now we're gonna try to do something. So let's say I take a screenshot. Try not to run in the loop. Let's say I take a screenshot. Boom. All right, so we can take this. This is a virtual sub method that we just overwrote. And now if we want to handle this screenshot properly, we need to validate this an actual image. So we can do def validates image self. We can do path string. What we're gonna do is we're actually just gonna handle this by moving it to our new destination. All right, so I basically just got it to work. I've literally been trying to debug the same issue the whole time. So what happened for me is I made everything. Like I made all this code using the inspiration from AI, but the issue is it does everything right. For example, I take a screenshot. I go ahead and save it as screenshot 123. Screenshot 123 pops up right here, but we're getting an error here. We're getting errors even though it's working, which means that it keeps on going, even though I have a sleep thing right here. So maybe it's the sleep thing. Let's give that a try. I mean, you never know. Debugging is always the worst thing on earth. Thank you. All right, I figured out the issue, bro. That is so stupid. I've like had to use AI to figure this out, and it still wasn't working because of a really small niche error. Now this is why AI can kind of kill us though, because I just completely refactored my whole code with AI, which kind of makes me a little less credible. However, it was literally because I just had to add a sleep here, because I have a lot of files on my computer, so it takes a bit to render any of these things. That took 25 minutes. Debugging is the worst part of coding, but now I probably know how to use Watchdog a little bit better than I ever did. And I can make some really cool files from this. I mean, this is sick. It lets me monitor anything I want. So if I add something to anywhere, I can just move it. Screenshots can be centralized. I can just gather anything I want with pathlib, which I'll end up using for my audio analyzing software. The best ideas you'll ever get will just come from making stuff. So just make, don't even think about the new ideas that come along. Don't think about a project to start that gets you the new ideas along the way. Just start and come with ideas and make sure they come to you. All right, well, this is the end of my video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you feel a little bit better about burnout. So we got 4 things. We have write your ideas down, use AI to help you kind of figure out some stuff, give it some nice prompts. 3 will be getting some sun and going to the gym. And I was going to put this 4th one in here about reading books, but that's different, all opinionized. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.